So, good evening once again, everyone. What are we here to talk about? We are here to talk about AWS Cloud Professional Training. And what is AWS? What is cloud? What is professional? Because I don't know everyone's level of knowledge here. I do know there are experts here that have worked in IT a couple of years, that have done big things in IT. But they just decided to use this medium to increase their knowledge, which I'm very happy about, because in the world of IT, there's something that never stops, and that's learning. A very important mentor once said, one of my very important mentor once said, he said he said that in 2012, that's 13 years ago, that information changes every 30 minutes. And he said that 13 years ago. So I don't know what the current metrics is right now. So if whatever you think you knew last year is already outdated. It's already outdated. I, for one, as well, I haven't stopped learning. I have not stopped learning. Just last week, I went in for a certification in cybersecurity. Yeah, and it's one of those things that will probably, if you once you join us, we'll probably walk you through it. So there's a body of the global body, the one of the most recognized, or I should say the most recognized body in cybersecurity. It's called ISC Square. They have a plan to have 1 million cybersecurity members, and with that, they want to offer free exam vouchers. The exams are worth 200 US dollars, but for the first 1 million people, they are giving it for free. And what that basically means is that if you eventually become a member, you pass that exam, you obtain a certification that is called Certified in Cybersecurity. And because one is a globally known certification, is also a globally known body, with that certification, you would stand out. Even if it's in the normal world of IT, even if you are not a cybersecurity professional, knowing that you have an idea or you are certified you are grounded in cybersecurity alone, makes you a good candidate that the market wants to see. Well, that's just a little detour. I was just trying to say I did that certification. Thankfully, I passed. But I was just trying to say the world of IT, you never stop learning. With all my experience by privilege in IT, I still get to do certifications, and I think I still have another three more lined up this year. And that is after I already have a couple. I'll probably share um, my LinkedIn profile with you so you can see all the certifications I have. But yeah, we just have to be ready, especially in the world of AI. And I definitely am going to do one certification in AI this year. Yeah, so um, thank you for coming. That's just in summary of what all I'm trying to say. Thank you for wanting to at least listen to learn what it takes to be better, right? Okay, so the question now comes, why do I need to learn about cloud infrastructure? Why do I need to learn about cloud infrastructure, right? Um, excuse me. First reason is because there's rapid growth in cloud technology across industries. Putting that in perspective, since COVID, I'm sure many of us are beginning to forget what COVID looks like because it was 5 years ago. But what happened with COVID was that cloud infrastructure was already existing. Cloud infrastructure was already existing, but it wasn't popular. And that's because many employers did not want to think about the fact that their employees would have to work from home because they spend a lot of money on office space. they spend a lot of money on getting people to come to work. They spend a lot of money. They claim the economy moves when people moves, and it may be true. For example, the office I work, we have a what would I call it? A branch office or something in Detroit, in Michigan. And when we were having a meeting with my vice president, because he is based there, he said that that office pays $1 million per annum. Yeah, great. I will. That will be our selling point. You have to join us first. Then we'll share with you the certifications. Just kidding. Or maybe I'm not kidding. Anyways, yeah. He did mention that our office in Detroit spends $1 million per year on parking, not the office space. Parking alone, like where cars will park, they spend $1 million per year to pay for rent on parking for employees. So imagine how much they would be paying for the office space itself. So why am I saying this? Pre-COVID, everyone was comfortable working in the office. Information systems infrastructure was a little bit more locked in and more compact and everything. But when COVID happened, what do you think would happen to that kind of my office that pays $1 million a year on parking? You can't go out. You keep paying rent on parking and on office space and on infrastructure, but your staff cannot come out of the house. And worst of all, your staff cannot work because everybody is used to coming to work to be able to work. COVID happened, you cannot work. And my organization is an IT company, is a core IT company. So if a core IT company that has clients like Government of Canada, Government of Ontario, Chevron, General Electric, Google, and the likes, if they cannot work because people cannot get to the office, then that means the organization is losing money. And this is not just happening to my organization, it happened to a number of organizations. That means everybody had to adapt. Everybody had to adapt. The idea of what we call, because the opposite, or maybe I don't know if that's the right word, the opposite, the other side of cloud computing is actually on-premise computing. That means you have all your infrastructure in the office, and then you just need to be in the office to be able to work. That's basically, for example, I remember in the year Christmas of 20 Christmas Day, or I think Boxing Day of 2014, I had to go into the office. I was working for the United Nations. Boxing Day 2014, I had to go into the office because there was some form of data I needed from our organization's server that was hosted in my office server, but I could not access from home. So I had to abandon my Boxing Day plans to come to the office to access that data, maybe just for 2 hours, right? It wasn't like it was a lot of work, but the fact that I had to leave home to come to the office on a public holiday that is as important as that just shows how things were done before, because most of those things were hosted on premise. But the world is revolving, the world has changed, especially in a place as Canada. Um, remote work or hybrid work has come to stay, no matter what anyone says. It has come to stay. So how do we get this to work? How do we get remote work to work? So that's also telling you that even if you are not a cloud person, or you are not a software developer, or you are not even an IT person, if you eventually hope to work remotely someday, you need to learn about cloud infrastructure. Even if you will not use it directly in your place of work, knowing that this is possible is a big plus for you. Anyways, I've spent too much time in that point. But yeah, that's why we have now seen rapid growth in cloud technology, because people now need to be able to work from anywhere and everywhere. There was a time I traveled to Geneva, and I was working for an employer based in Alberta, and I was working from Geneva. and everything was going well. Why? Because I worked with the cloud. Anyways, increasing demand for cloud skills in the job market, you cannot take that away. You can't take that away. One of our students that signed up with us for the first cohort, because this is the second cohort, she did she we are trying to work on an interview session for her right now, because she has been called for an interview, and part of the requirement of that interview is the fact that they must be familiar with the cloud. So there's increasing demand for cloud skills, whatever you are, even if you're a database administrator, or you are a system administrator, or if you are in core IT, or you are in non or even if you're a lawyer, right? Or you're a banker, everyone needs cloud infrastructure. Everyone needs cloud infrastructure. So, and that means there's an increasing demand. It enhances efficiency, scalability, and effectiveness. By the time we go further into this course, you will discover that there's something that is called um, me that I'm teaching it, I've forgotten it, but I'm going to explain it. It's basically, if somebody remembers it, because I know there are people here who have this skill, it basically means that your setup cost, I'm going to remember what it is, and I'm sharing my entire computer, so I can't go to Google on the site to check. Sorry, forgive me. But yeah, it totally means before now, if you want to set up an IT company, you need to plan on the infrastructure you need, maybe $50,000, $70,000 before you can even start working. Say you want to start a company or you want to start a project, you need to think about that, right? But now, because of cloud, you cloud has made it so easy that you can just do per month. You can pay per month. And this is one of the things I volunteer in my church right now, and we have a cloud service provider. And instead of us to be paying $5,000 or $6,000 to set up a server for us to be able to work, we subscribe to the cloud service, and we only pay 77 US dollars a month. So you see, it's huge cost savings. It's the setup cost is reduced, and you can easily scale whenever you want. So cloud, this is why we need to learn about cloud infrastructure. And like I said earlier, it supports remote work and global collaboration. I once had an employer, I was telling one of my mentors yesterday, the one developer was in Barcelona, the other one was in Pakistan, the other one was in Russia. I was here in Canada. There was another one where in I was here in Ontario. There's another one in Calgary. We're just scattered all around, distributed system. I did an interview with a company called chess.com, CHESS, like chess the game. And one of their selling point to me was that they have teams all around the world. They don't go into the office, right? They only meet once in a year. They choose a location where they meet once in a year so that they can get to know themselves, and it's paid for by the company, right? So again, who does not like some travel? But what I'm just trying to say is I support remote work and global collaboration. Why AWS? Why AWS? I'm sure that one of those slides in here is going to define cloud for us. If it doesn't, then I will define it for you. I must have missed it, or maybe I skipped the slide. AWS is actually the full meaning for Amazon Web Services. Yes, the same Amazon that you know, the same Amazon that you buy, what's it called from? What did I buy from Amazon recently? I bought a pouch, and I bought an AirPod from them, from Amazon recently. Yes, that same Amazon that you know. But Amazon has a subdivision called the Amazon Web Services, and that is the cloud services aspect of Amazon. Um, and funny enough, it makes more money for Amazon than the shopping system, than the e-commerce system, the Amazon.com that you know. AWS makes more money for Amazon than Amazon.com or Amazon.ca. So you see, cloud is what everybody should be aware of. Is what everybody should be aware of. And if you want to even go into AI, there's no how you want to go into AI without adding cloud to your portfolio, right? So AWS is a leader in cloud computing with a comprehensive suite of services. It's trusted by millions of customers worldwide. Um, so I usually say that AWS has a lot of services. I think they were the first to tap into the cloud market, to go big into the cloud market, and that's giving them a lot of leverage. And as we would see, we'll see a couple of organizations that work with AWS to make their life easier. This is also an high level overview, so I wouldn't be going too deep. This training session lasts for 10 weeks. So over the course of 10 weeks, your brain is going to be open to a lot of new perspectives about how things can be done in the IT industry. And that's why we like doing this, because it also makes us get to want to research more, so that we are in the forefront, we are at the forefront of whatever happens, because we also have personal projects that we do from here and there, right? Yeah, then AWS has a wide range of tools and solutions for various needs. And at this point, I'm just going to say, I know that many people, I did see some people fill in the interest form, and some people say, yes, I have used Microsoft Azure before. Some people say, yes, I have used, no, no one said they have used GCP, right? But the question now begs that, why are you teaching AWS? Why are you not teaching Azure? Number one, AWS has more markets, and I will explain to you. Azure is really trying to catch up, and they are really trying, but AWS is also trying to hold on to their market space, right? The second thing is that I have the AWS foundational certification. That's this one that we are going to do for the next 10 weeks. Yeah, that's the cloud practitioner certification. I also have the Microsoft Azure Cloud, the basic level. I think is AZ 900 or something, whatever the equivalent of what we are doing here over the next 10 weeks. I don't know why I keep saying past. The equivalent of what we're doing here over the next 10 weeks, I also have that certification. And I'm going to tell you that AWS is more intense than Azure. So, what I'm just trying to say is, if you do know AWS, you can know Azure. I can't say the other way around, that if you know Azure, you know AWS. It's not that you will not know AWS. You, of course, you will know the equivalent services, right? But the in-depth of how cloud works is what we're talking about, because you just don't want to have the knowledge. You want to be able to apply it. And that's why we stuck with AWS. Maybe someday we will go towards Microsoft Azure. Maybe that would we'll do once a year, because this one we plan to do 3 or 4 times a year. So maybe that one will do maybe once a year. It will also be exam based, so that we'll be able to support people to pass, right? But yeah, this is why we are doing AWS. And AWS has a strong focus on security and compliance. There's something we call SLA, service level agreements, and AWS usually has an SLA of, I think, 6 nines or 9 nines. That means they are promising you that 99.9999999% of the time they will always be up. Their service will always be up. So, and it will always be secure as well. So this is why we're considering AWS, because we think this is good for the people that are going to enter into the cloud. What are the popular AWS features? There's a compute, that's the EC2 Lambda, there's the storage, S3, EBS, there are databases, RDS, DynamoDB. So if you are an IT person and you know the concept of servers, right? The rack servers. If you have ever been to a server room, right, where they arrange servers on servers on servers on servers, right? That has become obsolete, because cloud services have taken over. And that part of the cloud service that has taken over is actually the compute, the EC2. So you don't need a big server farm that will have 100 computers or something anymore. AWS has a capacity to do all of that for you. And then there's the networking. I think someone is here who is a systems administrator or a network administrator, I believe. So AWS also has that networking feature, VPC, CloudFront. There are a lot of services. It also has security. Unfortunately, I'm not a security expert. My friend, my brother, my partner, his name is Eric. Just look for him in the Zoom chat. You'll see an Eric there. is the security expert. I told you guys I just did a certification in introduction, the introductory level, the base level in cybersecurity. He has the expert level in cybersecurity from the same organization, the same organization that offers the certification. That's ISC Square, right? So he has so you are not just going to be hearing from me, you're also going to be hearing from him, and I can assure you it's massive. The things that he has put together in terms of security, um, I could not have done it because I'm not a security person to start with, right? So we will also be talking about AWS security, or like cyber security. So if you intend to go into cyber security someday, I'll suggest you ping Eric on the side and just say, "Hi Eric, my name is this and I would like to grow in cyber security." I'm sure you wouldn't regret it. There are people from our first cohort that are stuck with him because and he's also a great teacher, right? So I think you are blessed. I don't know if I'm a great teacher or not. So we have to get started before you know. Let's talk about a little bit of AWS success stories. So because there is nothing about cloud here, the definition of cloud here, I'll just back up a bit and talk about cloud. I mistakenly deleted the slide or something. But the cloud is basically an interconnection of servers, of computers that are based in a location, and it makes it easy for people to subscribe to. So what I mean is that, so for example, I work in let me just say I have a job because this video will be going public, right? And in our office we do have what we call data centers, right? And if you are looking at those data centers will be worth at least, I don't think it should be less than $300 million, our data centers. And those, apart from the assets that are there, you have to think of how to make sure there's electricity, constant electricity. You have to make sure there is constant cooling, right? Because you don't want your servers to fry. You have to make sure there's physical security. Yes, I learned that when I just did my cybersecurity exam. I never thought cybersecurity will also include physical security, but actually it does, because if somebody walks into your data center and you don't have security there, then you don't have a cybersecurity problem. You have a foundational security problem, and you will still lose data, right? So imagine all of those things you have to invest to put in place to secure a $300 million data center, right? But let's now assume that, okay, let's use banks for example. RBC, let's say RBC has a 300 million data center before COVID. TD Bank has a 300 million data center before COVID. Which other bank? BMO has a 300 million data center before COVID, right? And the thing about this is that when you are working with a data center, it's usually advised that you over provision, because, of course, have availability is key. Availability is key. There's something we call CIA triad, that confidentiality, availability, and see me that just did the exam. I forgotten the third one. Sorry, forgive me. Yes, CIA. But let's talk about availability. I'll remember the I. I didn't cram for the exam though, but I passed. I think someone is helping me out. Yes, integrity. Thank you. Thank you. Confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So for a system to be said to be secure, you need to be able to balance all three, right? So if you have a personal data center or a corporate data center, you need to balance it, right? And the leg of availability means that you need to over provision your servers, right? Even in the cloud, it's scalable, but you need to, for the cloud, you need to set a trigger that when my capacity is beyond 70%, create a new server so that I will not have availability issues, right? So because of that, organizations over provision. So I've mentioned three banks, $300 times three, 900. $300 million times three, that's $900 million. AWS comes to you and says, this $900 million that you have spent to set up your data center, why not come subscribe for my services, right? And we have a central data center. Say I'm going to have, I don't know how many of us live in Toronto, but let's say Rogers Center. I'm going to clear the whole of Rogers Center. I'm going to put server farms in there, right? I'm going to bear the cost of maintaining that server farm, but you just come and tell me how much of data, how much of servers you want in this my large data center. I don't know if that makes sense. So that is the concept of the cloud. So that is what cloud is. So instead of all the banks individually to spend $300 million on data centers, of which they still have data centers because the law of the land sometimes restricts the use of certain assets in a shared cloud or in a public cloud. And that's, we will talk about that more in the training, right? AWS will now come to you and say, instead of you to be spend $900 million totally, you $900 million collectively, pay me $2 million per year. Pay me $2 million. I will maintain those server farms. You will have no worries to deal with the physical part, the physical security, making sure there's power, making sure there's internet, making sure there's heat or cooling system or anything, right? Let me do that for you, and you just get to pay me per month, or you get to pay me per year based on what you think works for you. So that saves every organization a whole lot of money, right? Because instead, banks have the money. That's why they can actually put a $300 million data center in place. But what about an organization that is as small as what? That's a logistics company that is just starting up and needs $400,000 to set up their data center. That means they cannot start, right? Because they don't even have the 400,000. They need the $400,000 to be in place before they can even start operation. But this is why AWS makes it easy, because AWS, for a small company like that, AWS is going to tell you, don't worry, just take the rent, the amount of services you need. At that point, maybe you only be, like I told you, my church is doing that same thing, right? And we only spend less than 100 Canadian dollars a month, right? So instead of us to spend $5,000 to buy a server, we're spending $100 a month, right? So that makes the gives you an advantage to be able to easily go into the market. So all I'm trying to say is cloud is just a connection, a centrally located data center that allows people to subscribe for services they need. That's just what cloud is. And please, if you have any questions, put it together. I may have missed something. I'll be happy to explain. We need to run fast because I still need to explain. I need to, those that don't have an AWS account, I need to show you how to have an AWS account. So let's look at the success story. So that's what cloud is. But in case you hear about Google Drive, iCloud, right? OneDrive, and they tell you it's cloud storage. Yes, they are cloud storage, but they are just they that is what it is. Cloud storage. That is, you are using the cloud to store your data. And that is why if you change your iPhone today and you buy a new iPhone tomorrow and you have iCloud subscribed, you don't have a problem because your data is already in that collection of in that data center using the storage aspects. Because cloud is not only about storage, there's compute, like I showed you, there's database, there's storage, there's security, there's a lot of things about cloud. But if you hear iCloud, cloud storage, those ones are cloud storage, right? That's why if you change a new iPhone, what happens is it just logs in to your account and pulls your data from the cloud storage. So that is not cloud. It's just one part of cloud, which is cloud storage. And sincerely, that's the cheapest part of cloud, anyways. That's the cheapest part of the cloud. That's why Google Drive can give you 15 gig free. That's why OneDrive can give you this free. You get it's very cheap. Okay. What are the success stories? Netflix, Airbnb, NASA. How has Netflix become a success story? So Netflix is one of the companies that is the biggest loyalist to AWS. I haven't heard AWS companies tout another company that does more as much as Netflix does with them, right? And again, Netflix is in situations like this, I like to show how much a company is worth. So I'm just going to check on my phone, right? I'm just going to say, um, give me a moment. Let me just search and say Netflix net worth. Netflix is worth four as of March 2, 2025. Netflix net worth was $446 billion. So Netflix, the same Netflix you use, is worth 446 billion US dollars. 446 billion US dollars. They they have presence in virtually almost every country in the world. Almost every country in the world uses the Netflix service, right? And for you to have a service like Netflix, let me tell you how it would be without before the cloud. You would need data centers. You would need one data center in the US, you need one data center in Europe, you need one data center in Asia, you need one data center in Australia, right? Because before internet became a big thing, there was something called buffering, buffering. Like if you don't have your servers closed, the latency will reduce. So it will take time. That's why sometimes now, if you are using bad internet, you see sometimes Netflix is loading even while the video is playing, right? Now, to set up those four data centers for Netflix for a $440 billion company, it's not going to be anything less than $3 billion to set it up alone, to set it up, not even to maintain it. It will not be less than $3 billion. And I know I'm just throwing figures here, but I hope you can correct me if you think I'm wrong, right? It will not be less than $3 billion, right? Because you need a stable and a solid data center to be able to have something that provides quality service. But here's the shocker. The shocker is that Netflix does not have a single data center. I don't know if they have gone. That's why I said AWS usually touts Netflix. Netflix does not have a single data center. Not one. They don't have one. How do they now make sure they are able to work with and they are able to put their services all around the world? They use AWS. So instead of them to invest $3 billion to set up data centers all over the world, they partner with AWS and use AWS data centers all around the world to put their videos out there, and they pay AWS per month or per year or whatever it is. And that would reduce the cost of running the Netflix service drastically. Drastically. I'm sure they are spending a whole lot per month as well on running their Netflix services, right? But it's totally better to do that than to have your own data centers, especially if it's a global service like Netflix. Right. So again, why are they able to do this? Scalability. In the cloud, there's a concept called scalability, and that concept, it basically means that you can increase and decrease the services that you use, right? So if they release, I don't know if Netflix has released a new video or a new movie or a new series of late, because I've just been stuck with one. But let's say they release a new one. I think maybe they recruit or whatever it is. They know that people are going to want to watch it all around the world. They will increase their services, that they will release the videos on a weekend, increase their services, maybe increase the services with another 200,000 US dollars, right? So that people will get to watch, they pay, they subscribe, they do all of those things. When that one has plateaued and the demand is going down, they will reduce the services. And with AWS, you only pay for what you use. So they spend $300 to release a movie, to distribute a movie around the world, right? And when they are done, they stop it. So they don't have to pay $300 per month. They only pay $300,000. They don't have to pay $300,000 per month. They only pay it once. And then maybe when they want to do the next one, they do the same thing. That's scalability. Like I said, AWS also has global reach, so Netflix takes advantage of that. And it's also agile. So Netflix can rapidly deploy new features and services. They can experiment with new ideas and do a lot of things because they have the reach to be able to test. Okay, we want to change the feature in India. Let's put the new feature out there. Let's see what people think. And it's not going to affect the South African version, right? So AWS gives us that that what's it called? That advantage. Second is Airbnb. Airbnb is, I'm sure everyone here has heard about Airbnb. Airbnb is a platform that connects travelers with hosts offering accommodation. And they basically started with airbeds, right? Airbeds and big breakfast. That's actually the full meaning of Airbnb. Airbed, like air mattress. That was what they used to start their business. Air mattresses. So that's airbed and breakfast. That's full meaning of Airbnb. So they started as a startup, like a traditional startup, and Airbnb, as of last time I checked, is worth $93 billion, right? So they know they were going to go all around the world, but with the constraint of needing fixed infrastructure assets, they would have been stuck. But because they work with the cloud, they can access AWS, right? Pay them per month for the small services they use. If the demand is growing, that means their money is increasing. So they also get to be able to pay for the extra services, right? So the more the demand, the more the money. AWS is happy, Airbnb is happy. Airbnb does not need to set up a data center, a big data center. They just use AWS services, use what they need, and pay for it. That's all. And yeah, so they have cost savings, rapid innovation, and they are able to do data analysis with their data services such as Amazon Redshift and S3. Example of companies that another one is NASA. NASA is the American Space Authority, United States of America Space Authority. They use AWS for high performance computing. So I have been privileged to work in an organization that uses high performance computing for satellites and extraterrestrial technological work. You will need what we call high performance computing. It's basically a computer that has high power that can process very fast. And for you to be able to have that, you have to spend a lot of money. But with AWS, you can actually request for that. For that, it's going to be expensive, but the fact that you pay for it per hour makes a lot of sense. So you don't need to spend, I don't think any high performance computer will be less than $80,000. So you don't need to spend $80,000 to do your work. You just pay AWS, maybe it will be expensive, like maybe $700 a month for their high performance computing, and you use it, maybe you are only planning to use it like 40 hours a month because you pay per hour, right? So instead of you to pay $80,000 to buy your machine, pay $700 a month and be able to still do the same amount of work. And yeah, and because of accessibility as well, you can decide to share data. So government of United States can decide to share data with government of Pakistan because it's in the cloud. So you don't need to download the data and then upload it in a storage and share it. You just create an access by the principle. Of course, you have to consider the principle of least privilege, which of course Eric is going to talk more about when the lecture starts, and you just share it with them. They will have access to it without you having to download, upload, and anything, right? So that's a positive, that's a positive impact. Yeah. If you're a non-tech person, how can AWS Cloud help you? You can use it to simplify your everyday tasks with their user-friendly services. One of the things Eric is going to talk about, of course, in the training is AI. There are a lot of AWS AI services that just make your life easy. There's the Amazon Poly, there's the Amazon Transcribe, there's the Amazon, I don't know if it's Read, they call it. You just upload your document, it reads it out for you. There are a lot of services you can use. There's the Amazon S3. If you want to store your data and you want to share it, maybe put your resume somewhere, or you want to even create a small website, you can do all of that with AWS. And of course, in a centralized place. It helps you to automate routine processes and save time. That's one of the biggest benefits for me. AWS helps me to automate routine processes and save time. Don't ask me about what I'm talking about because I may not remember anything right now. AWS offers tools for you for data storage, for data analysis, for data sharing. Like I said, government of US wants to share data with government of Pakistan. You don't need to download it and upload and do whatever it is. Just you have your data there. Maybe it is 20 petabytes, right? Just create an IAM access for the government of Pakistan, send it to them, create a policy that says they can only access this file. Even though it's in your account, they can only access that file, share it with them. They go in there, they look at the data. They also don't need to download it. They look at the data, run their analysis, or create an AWS service that plugs into the government of United States AWS service, and then they're able to do their analytics with only one data source as the single source of truth. That helps. As you can see, even nowadays, before we even started talking about cloud, USB drives have become extinct. Nobody uses flash drives anymore. Now look at what AWS can do to you. You don't even need to save anything in your Google Drive or OneDrive and say I want to be sharing it everywhere, especially for heavy data. It enhances your productivity in health, non-tech fields like education, healthcare, and finance. So the good thing about the cloud is that it has made every sector to need a cloud administrator. It has made every sector to need a cloud administrator. Even the school board of the school that my children go to, they subscribe to the cloud. Somebody has to manage that for them, right? Education, the hospitals, they subscribe to the cloud. Well, as we go on, you would see things like software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. You'll see the different grades, but having the knowledge of AWS cloud helps you to be in the forefront of all of that. I have I can call him a friend now, but he's one of my students in the other course that we do, and the guy told me that he's now the favorite of his department because when HR needs to access their software, their SaaS solution, software as a service, and they are not able to do it because he has access, he has understanding of the cloud, he's the one they call. They don't need to call IT. They just call him because he has an understanding. That's value adding. That can make you a favorite that will gain you a promotion, right? And you are not even paying much to learn for it, right? So all of these things they help in the aviation industry. So every sector literally now needs a cloud person. Every sector is not just IT companies. I told you, even my church now needs cloud person. My church, where we preach the word of God, we now need a cloud person. Although we are volunteering, but they still need a cloud person, right? The schools, the hospital is even big on cloud. The hospitals are big on cloud and on security. Manufacturing, think about it. Banks, oh my God, my I, I'm not gonna say much, but banks, they are big on IT. They are big on IT. Very big on IT. And what is their main that, but IT is not their core operation, but IT supports their core operation. Excuse me. IT supports their core, and it's not their core operation is to collect money for people and invest and save and do everything. But they are big on IT. You would see banks that they would rent an entire office space of 13 floors, and people that are inside are all IT people, right? So yeah, let's continue. What kind of jobs will you be doing that your cloud knowledge will be useful? Um, Cloud support engineer, you can assist customers with cloud-based issues. Monitoring technician, you can monitor cloud infrastructure. You can be a DevOps engineer, which I am. a DevOps engineer. You can automate and manage cloud deployments. You can be a cloud solutions architect. You design and implement cloud solutions. You can be an IT project manager. We did have somebody in our last cohort who was a project manager and wanted to become an IT project manager. So she signed up for this. And because she signed up for this course, she can literally now start applying for technical project management roles because she now understands what the cloud is. She can now be a technical project manager because she has now gained some technical experience. And of course, with a few showing here and there from experts like Eric and like me, it gives them the opportunity to understand anything they don't know, right? Data analyst, you can be your in short, if you're a data analyst, I think I met a data analyst last week and I was like, do you do your analysis in the cloud? And then I think he said no. I'm like, how do you want to handle big data? Like I told you about the example of US and Pakistan, right? They don't move data to local systems anymore. A funny story, I was the DevOps manager for one of these banks a while ago, and one of my team members, they asked him to migrate the database from staging to production, and the guy downloaded the database to his local machine, downloaded the database to his local machine to upload to production. Oh my God, I'm sure he will never forget that day in his life. That's so obsolete. They don't do that anymore. Data lives where it lives. If you want to migrate or transfer, find a way to migrate it where it lives. It cannot be living on your local machine. It cannot. It's not heard of. So if you're a data analyst, you can use cloud tools to perfect your cloud skills, to perfect your data analysis skills, because there are a lot of services on AWS that will help your data analysis. And now with AI here, man, the sky they say is the limit. You can be a security specialist. I've talked a lot about it. Again, pardon me for being a new security newbie. You can be a service delivery lead, ensure efficient delivery of cloud services to customers. You can be a cybersecurity specialist. You can be a software developer because even software developers now use the cloud. There are a lot of software as a solution services that you can use with the cloud and just helps your work easier as a software developer. I don't even think any software developer should not be cloud proficient in these days that we have. Uh Oh, there's more. Database administrator, cloud consultant, cloud sales engineer, cloud network engineer, cloud trainer, like me, can also be a cloud trainer. And yes, one of our students in the first cohort is actually helping us to help our fellow students that have not done the exam yet to like practice with them to make sure that they pass because you have to pass. That's our win-win. In our the last cohort, we actually had somebody that scored 1,000 over 1,000. Even we were surprised, but we thank God for it. Business analyst, you can analyze business needs and recommend cloud solutions. You can be a product manager, you can be a systems administrator, cloud systems administrator, you can be a technical support specialist, and you can be a cloud financial analyst. This one they call it FinOps, where you make sure that not that because cloud is a buzzword, you should now waste money on the cloud. No, you should still be efficient because that's what makes cloud make sense. Because if it will cost me 300 million dollars to have a data center that will serve the whole country, and I am paying $15 million per month on cloud services, that means in 20 months, I would have spent that $300 million. So it doesn't make sense, right? Right? It doesn't make sense. So you need a cloud financial analyst to help you to look at it and make sure that whoever is using cloud services are actually using the things they need because it is in that savings that the usage of the cloud makes sense. And it's a job. So you pay somebody 120,000 to be the cloud financial analyst, right? And they help you to save $3 million. That's good. I have a friend in TD Bank that said they gave someone like this an award because she helped the company to save, I don't know, maybe 50 or $100 million in cloud costs. So TD Bank pays this person $130,000 to become a cloud financial analyst. And she keeps looking into cloud services. Okay, you don't need this. I don't think you need this. I don't think you need it. And she cuts $100 million. If TD Bank now rewards her with maybe another $130,000, is it not still a win for TD Bank? Right? It's a win-win. Although if you look at it that way, you may be discouraged and say, ah, I save you people $100 million and you're only giving me 130,000. Well, story for another day. But yeah, it just means that you have a pedestal to be in a good place, right? And I have worked with financial analysts, cloud financial analysts before. They call them FinOps in the office that I worked, and they were literally on my neck. Why is this on? Why do you keep your servers running 24 hours when the people that use it only work from 9 to 5? So they forced us to be running those servers from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. instead of having to run them 24 hours. That way they have cut half the cost. And this organization I'm talking about, as of the time they wanted to cut the half of the cost, we're spending $1.5 million per year on cloud cost. And when those people finished dealing with me, our budget reduced to $900,000. So they have saved $600,000 for the organization, right? And nobody died. They even forced us to automate that shutting down and shutting up of those things, right? So that's, well, I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe there's someone here that may want to take that career path, right? Um, what are the certifications with AWS? What are the career paths? Cloud practitioner, this is the one we are training for, the fundamental understanding of AWS. Solution architect is the next level. So after being a cloud practitioner, if you are confident enough and you are happy with what AWS is offering, you can eventually become a solution architect. Usually, I train on DevOps as well, and I recommend that my DevOps students do the solution architect exam because for you to be an infrastructure person, you need to understand the architecture of infrastructures, right? Then you can be an AWS certified developer. You can build and maintain applications on AWS. You can be a SysOps administrator. You manage and operate AWS environments. You can be a data scientist. AWS is actually big on data. And when we go on in the training, I'm going to tell you more. Data is the new gold. Data is the new gold. You can Google how much of Meta, that's Facebook, how much of Meta's income comes from data is huge. How much of Google's income comes from data? It's huge. So if big organizations like that thrive on data, what makes you think small organizations will not thrive on data? Right? So data science is big. And if you now combine data science and cloud together, boom, you are there. DevOps engineer is another AWS certification where you can automate and optimize IT operations. What will you learn in this training? Like I said, it's a 10-week training. Week one, and we have not started yet, though. We haven't started yet. The only thing we'll be doing today after this presentation is we'll be creating AWS accounts. And if you are able to successfully create AWS accounts, then we can now start our training in full. Introduction to cloud computing and AWS. We'll talk about core AWS services. Then we'll talk about database and networking. We'll talk about security and identity management. We'll talk about AWS management tools and monitoring. We'll talk about practical application. So for each of these weeks, we'll be doing practical. Today, we are going to be creating an AWS account. And one of you will actually be sharing your screen to create an AWS account so that others will be able to follow. So that part of the video will not be put on the public cloud, the public video cloud called YouTube. I was just trying to pun you. It will be put in the private video cloud, right? But yeah, every session we do, we have hands-on, hands-on. How can, oh, did I miss that? Oh, there are 10 weeks though. So join us to see the remaining. How can I maximize this training? Stay engaged and participate actively. You need to, you need to be engaged and participate actively. You need to take notes and review them, right? You need to ask questions. That's why we are doing a live class. Like the only reason why we are doing the, no, let me, not the only reason, but the most important reason why we are doing a live class, why we are not sending you recorded videos, is so that you can stop us, ask questions. We had a student in the last class that asked and asked and asked and asked questions that even other students were like, this is too much. But we never stopped asking. We never stopped anyone from asking. Ask your questions. Because when you ask, you learn more. That's one of the main reasons why we're doing it. Well, why we are here. collaborating together on Zoom. Else, I'd have just recorded the video and sent, right? Apply what you learn through hands-on practice. We know that this will earn you a certification, but that is not the only objective of this course. We want you to get the cloud certification because yes, everywhere in the world, your certification helps you. It shows that you have proficiency in that cloud service, right? But we also want you to be able to advance your career with it, right? So apply what you have learned through hands-on practice. Then network with your fellow participants and your group. We have created a WhatsApp group already. A couple of people are there. You can network. There are people in the former set that are BFFs now. They keep talking, they keep gisting and everything. We're a family, right? We the instructors are also in the group. So if there's anything anybody does not understand, ask your question. You will get it. Now, who are the instructors? Because I don't have my video on. Let me show you who the instructors are. Looks like this is me. Yes. With 14 years in IT space with experience as a web designer, software developer, data manager, IT project manager, cloud, information security. Now I can proudly say information security because I now have a security certification and DevOps lead, who brings along a passion to see people grow and become a better version of themselves. And that's true. I know there are a couple of people here who I told that money is not the most important thing. The knowledge is, right? If you have the knowledge, you will bring me more students that will pay the money. Doesn't mean you will not pay, shall, but I'm just saying money is not the most important thing. I know has a master's degree in information systems from University of Liverpool with distinction. He's a certified PMP, Project Management Professional, Scrum, AWS Solution Architect, Terraform, and ITIL Professional. I should update this list, but there's no space. He's also an alumni of Harvard University, where he studied data privacy and technology. He also studied MBA Essentials at the University of Toronto's Rotman School of Management, and he loves to impart knowledge in the easiest way possible. I hope I have delivered on my goal though. So my leader Eric can pay me. And then here's Eric, is an experienced cybersecurity professional, almost 2 decades of IT experience. For over 2 decades, Eric has been dedicated to helping the youth reach their potential, and he does that a lot. He communicate the way he even communicates to me. I spoke with him this week, and I felt peace. Like I don't know, he has. If we were in Africa, I would have said he has special jazz, but I think I'll call that the spirit of God. He has that. We have to give it to him. He holds bachelor's and master's of engineering in telecommunications. He has earned 3 AWS certifications. He has won me on that because I only have 2. He has solution architect, he has system administration and security. Maybe when I add my AI too, then I would say I have 3x, right? Then he has 2x ISC2, CISSP, and CCSP. Those are big certifications, though. Big certifications. I only have one X ISC2, and that's CC, which is the foundational level. But let me brag about it. As well as certifications in Splunk, CCNA, ITIL, and ISO 20000. As a cloud security professional, he aids organizations in significantly enhancing their security posture through secure architecture design, comprehensive assessment, and effective risk prioritization and remediation. Don't worry, when you come to the class, he'll tell you more about all of those. And that is all. Any questions? Any questions? Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And now I can see what I can do about what happened to my monitor. Yes, please, Marianne.
Thank you for the introduction. So, so far, what I've been able to gather from this introduction and everything is you've been able to like successfully tell us the use cases of AWS. You've told us the characteristics. You've also told us about cloud services like the SaaS, PaaS, and all. However, I missed it. In single terms, could you tell us what is cloud? Like to a layman, if a layman should ask you what's cloud, how would you define cloud to the person?
Oh, I thought I was able to get to that, but maybe I'll go over it again. So I had explained earlier that if TD Bank spends $300 million on their data center, BMO spends $300 million on their data center, and what other bank did I? Let's say Scotia Bank also spends $300 million on their data center. That's $900 million collectively, right? And the data center is actually supposed to serve all their branches across the nation of Canada. But I was saying that there's a big, huge possibility that this is over provisioned. So that means they may not even be using 50% of the capacity of that data center, but they have already invested a lot of money. Cloud, what cloud does is that it provides a central data center with subscription model where all of these banks and other services, whatever services, airline, hospital, all of them, they will come to that data center provider and say, I need a chunk of your data center. I need a chunk of your data. That is what cloud is. So cloud is you having a centralized data center where you get to pay in chunks instead of you to set up your own, which would be expensive, right? You get to pay in chunks. So instead of you to use, say, $25,000 to buy your own data center, set up the networking, ensure the security and everything, you subscribe to a cloud service like AWS, and they will give you something like that, and you will be paying them per month. That is what cloud is. Did I manage to explain it? I can go further if you want.
So,
Yes.
so what you're saying is, in simple terms, cloud is a centralized data center with
Affirmative.
subscription.
Affirmative.
So,
Affirmative.
so, are you trying to say that cloud is not like a, so is there a difference between the data center and then servers?
A data center consists of servers. Just
Okay.
that you would have servers in your office. That is your data. That the servers in your office has made your office a data center, right? So the centralized service provider now is now the central data center.
So
Called
we can
cloud.
also, so that means we can also say that cloud is a remote server, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you can't simplify it that way because cloud provides a lot of services. But yes, it's a server that you can access remotely.
Oh,
And yeah, if when we go on, when you create an AWS account, we will actually get to create a Windows server where you will provision a Windows server, an equivalent of a Windows laptop, right? And you can do anything you like on it. Yes. So in that simplified form, yes, a cloud is a remote server.
thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Anyone else has another question?
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so the part you mentioned, like other courses in AWS, like the solution architect, are they like different training, or are they in this same training? I don't know. Like,
No, no. What we train for, let me see if I can get that part of Google up and show you and share my screen to show you that. Let's see, is this AWS? Let me just open a new one and do this. Sorry, I don't know what happened to my monitor, so I have to be doing manual provisioning of screens for a cloud session. This is quite embarrassing, right? Yeah. What do you see? You see a blank screen, right? A blank Google screen.
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. So let's look at AWS certification. Let us see what we have. So AWS has all of these certifications. There's the foundational, there's the professional, there's the associate, there's a specialty. Yes, those four. right? There's the AWS certified cloud practitioner. There's the AWS certified AI practitioner. Those are foundational. No prior experience needed for you to write the exam, right? That's the foundational. For you to do the associate, the next is the associate. You need prior cloud or strong on-premise IT experience, right? Because you are now an associate. You are no longer a foundational practitioner, right? So this is the next level, and there's the CSOPs, there's developer, there's solution architect, there's data engineer, there's machine learning engineer. Then we go to the professional level, right? Where you need 2 years of AWS cloud experience, right? It's recommended. They won't stop you from doing the exam anyways. They are just saying for you to be able to pass, they think you should have 2 years, right? Then there's the solution architect professional, then DevOps engineer professional, right? And then there's the specialty. These are the if you have ever done karate, I think the black belt or whatever belt it is, the highest belt, right? These are the specialty, the advanced networking specialty, the machine learning specialty, the security specialty. So if someone like Eric tells you that he has 3x AWS certification, that means he has this, which other one? He has three of these. How many is this in total? 7 plus 2, 9, 9 plus 3, 12. He has three of that 12. There are people that will tell you, well, I have 9x AWS certification, right? Me, I only have 2x. I only have this one and I have this one, these two, cloud practitioner and solution architect. I'm thinking of doing this AI practitioner. I hope I can just plan for it in 2 weeks and just do it, and hopefully I will pass. Just like I did the Microsoft Azure. I planned for it in 15 days and I did the exam, and thankfully I passed. I even passed very well, right? So I'm hoping I can add this so I can also say 3x. But to answer your question, this is the one we are training for. And once you are able to effectively grasp this, I tell you, you can easily go and learn this and they will make sense to you. Well, you will need some more skills like solution architect, you need a couple of DevOps experience, right? And for DevOps engineer, you need this. Solution architect professional, I hear is huge. I don't have it, right? Then there's the security. Where's security? Security specialty. I think this is the one our other instructor said he has, right? That means he has a black belt. Um, is it black belt they call it though? I don't know. Yeah. But he has that highest level of certification in here, right? So this is what we are doing. This is the one we are doing. And the thing is, when we show you, we are not just showing you to pass the exam, we're also using it to show you all of the services that AWS offers in the cloud. And with that, you can advance your learning, your career, your training to be able to do any one of these. And even if you want to do other cloud services, you can. I'm very sure, I assure you that you can. Does that answer your question, sir?
Yeah, yes, it does. I understand.
Okay, great. That takes me to the part of the amount that you have to pay for this. I'll stop the recording and I'll say that. But yeah, let everybody ask their questions. Any other questions? Any other questions? Should I call names? Praise, do you have any questions?
No,
Oh, you
sir.
were
Thank
muted
you.
before I even called you, sir.
No, sir. No, thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. Eric, I don't know if you are there. I feel like the concept of cloud needs to be better explained. Um, Maybe if you can answer a bit of Marianne's question a bit more.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear it.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Like Anna already explained, my name is Eric. So I'm one of the instructors for this training. So hopefully we'll get to know each other more for those I do not already know. And then, of course, we'll be able to form some lifelong partnership, right? So that's the goal of this whole thing. We are always connected with people, and people always help us move forward. If you took note of some of the things I know was saying, I was with my mentor, I was with that one. That's because people help us grow, right? So beyond this class, hopefully, we'll be able to build a lifelong relationship, right? So to answer that question, right, what is a cloud? I think it starts from understanding what a data center is, right? So typically, if there's any solution that you have, what do I mean by a solution? You have, let's say it's a website. I just think of any software that you use online these days, right? Most of those softwares, or rather all the software, they have to run on a machine. And that machine is like a compute, right? A computer, a server, the one that they refer to as a server. But servers, they don't work in isolation, right? You server processes stuff, you need storage to store data, right? And then in addition to that storage, you might also need actual databases, right? That you will be getting information from, you retrieve, you maybe show the information to your user. So by the time you need networking too, right? For those who are aware, because computers have to communicate with one another. So you need to have switches, router. So all of these things combined, you have your racks and everything, they form your data center, right? But what does cloud do? Instead of you having it, again, you can have a private cloud actually, but instead of you having a data center that you can only access when you are, that belongs to you as an organization, or that you can only access maybe when you are connected to your company's VPN, or you're actually in on premises, right? That's what normally you can. Otherwise, if everybody is able to access it, then there's a lot of security risk. The cloud gives you several privileges, right? One of them is that you can create resources as you like and then destroy them. You only pay for what you use. It's just like when phones came out in some parts of the world, I mean mobile phones, you will need to, first of all, I think you had to pay maybe per minute or so, or in some places like in North America, for example, now, you pay for your phone bills monthly, right? Some people pay before, some people do postpaid, but you have to pay a certain amount monthly. But think of a situation where you don't actually use the phone as much as you should. So it means you might either be overpaying, or sometimes it's possible that you overuse it. But of course, you can't exhaust the capacity of the phone provider, and then so maybe you are underpaying. But in any of these cases, you're not paying exactly for what you use. So just like your data center, where he said you have to invest $300 million upfront, right, to create a data center. What the cloud allows you to do is that the cloud allows you to have a data center. It can just be a mini data center that you can set up anytime you want, and then you only set up what you need. When you use it, you can, destroy it, right? Now, but what are some other things that you can add to the cloud? In a cloud, one of the primary characteristics of a cloud is that it is accessible from anywhere, broad access, right? From anywhere. All you need is just a device connected to the internet, and then you'll be in the cloud already. When we start now, you see it when you create your first AWS hand, right? So it's just like how do I put it? It's like a giant data center, right? That you can access from anywhere, anytime, right? And then you can bring up resources as you like, because resources usage, it is metered. What do I mean by metered? They are able to calculate how much of the resource you are using. Unlike your regular data center, nobody cares because you've already provisioned it and it's there, it's working, right? So, but in a cloud, they count it so that they will know exactly what you need to pay. So just so that I don't keep going on trying to explain cloud fully, just think of a cloud as a data center. Actually, we're talking about public cloud now, right? Because there are different types of cloud, but let's focus on public cloud, like the AWS, the Google, and the Azure, right? Or Alibaba, if you know Alibaba as well, or IBM. So these are all public cloud. So when we talk about public cloud, it's just having a data center that you can use to run your solutions, your applications, your website, whatever it is, software that you need to run in a remote location. Most times you don't know where it is, right? Nobody, it's a security feature, what they call physical security that Pastor Anu already explained, that you don't let customers know exactly where the data center is. I can tell you that the data center is somewhere in, let's say in London, right? In London, UK. But that's how far I can tell you. I can say East London. That's how far I can tell you. I can't tell you exactly where it is. But you know that when you need to access that data center from anywhere, anytime, right? Whatever number of resources that you need to bring up, you will have it, whether it is compute, like a virtual machine, like a computer, like a server, or whether it is storage, like for example, many of us use Google Drive and all of those things, right? But this one, we're talking when we get to the cloud, you see that we have other types of storage, whether it is those storage or whether it is your databases, right? Or even machines that we call serverless. All you need to do is to put your code there. It runs for you. You don't need to worry about the machine running. All of these things, they are available for you in the cloud. It's just like having your IT shop in a remote location, and then you're able to use it anytime. You can access it from anywhere. That is basically what the cloud is. I hope I was able to, help with a little bit of explanation. Again, as we go on, you'll see different characteristics of the cloud, right? Because there's also what we call private cloud. That's you setting up your own data center and then having all of this feature is different from your typical data center. What differentiates it is the fact that you can access it anytime from anywhere. So take note of those keywords. Otherwise, the truth is that, and then you can measure how you are using the resources in that data center, because that's how they can bill you for it. Whereas your regular data center, it might still have the same things. It might still have the same network router, network switches. It can have similar VMs, right? But they will have software that will be able to make them to be able to share it for different customers using it at the same time. Unlike your regular data center that is dedicated just for your company, you can create VMs for different departments. Okay, I hope was that Marianne? I don't know if that was Marianne. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mary
It was.
Ann, not
Oh,
Mary Ann,
sorry.
Mary Ann.
Oh, yeah, forgive me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Marianne. Yeah. Yeah, I like the name actually. So Marianne. Yeah. So I hope it provides a bit of explanation, right? So, and again, anybody can use it. Unlike your data center that is restricted to your company, all you need to do is your credit card. That's what they need. That's it. So once for example, they sent me my bill. I was very happy. $0, 0 cents. I'm hoping that they will not convert it to Canadian dollars, and then I will now see $1.13, right? Because they do that sometimes. But when I don't see any charge, I'm happy. But the thing is, you must keep a card there so that they can bill you for it. It's having access to people's computer elsewhere. They are letting you use it, but you have to pay them for it. Anytime you need it, it's there for you. Yeah.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thank you.
Anu? Yeah. Okay.
Marianne eventually said thank you to you. She didn't say thank you to me, so I think you did a great job.
I think we forced Marianne to accept the explanation.
No for that. No for that question.
I said thank you to him. I don't know, probably he didn't hear, but thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank
Yeah.
you too. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's Eric. That's my partner, and our mentor is all of us mentor. I don't think I would have succeeded enough in cybersecurity if he didn't help me. I remember my first cybersecurity job. I had to sit with him and say, see, all of these things they are asking me to do, I have no idea. What is Hey, there was something I think I showed you some database provisioning things. I'm like, what are you talking about securing this database? Please, please, please don't let my organs say. So yes, it's our mentor. Yeah. Uh, I think we've flogged the issue of introduction to cloud enough. If anyone does not have any further questions, I'm gonna stop the recording. I'll talk a bit about how much it costs for those that have not registered. I think about two or three people here have not registered yet. I think two. I'm just going to talk about how much it costs, and then there are other people that were supposed to join though they are not here. But yeah, let's see. Let's hope it's just the Sunday code that is happening to that. All right. Any questions? Last call.